Hello, everyone. Thank you for showing up after a month, or I don't know how long it has been since I've streamed anything on Twitch. Yeah. So yeah, thanks a lot for being here, and if you can stick around, feel free to do so. Although today is probably going to be a bit of a wonky stream, per usual, I guess, but yeah. So the concept is that we are joining the GMTK Game Jam 2024, but that was, I guess, a little spoiled by the title of the video anyway. Never mind. So yeah, I'm a bit terrified, but no need to panic. The theme is really good this year, so we had some ideation yesterday with my good friend Tibor, who is sitting right behind me, I guess. I'm not so sure if you can make him out in the camera, but yeah, he's right here, and he's right now, I guess, selecting sounds or something. Yeah. And he will probably make some graphics for the game if everything works out. So, I don't want to make a big long intro or anything. The concept is that we are making a game about wall climbing or wall scaling, you know. That's our hook anyway. So yeah, I have a teeny tiny little to-do list, not even a to-do list, it's more of a little note, just a couple items on it. So our idea is that we are going to have we are going to make a 2D platformer with physics, of course, and you will control a little robot who will have to scale a wall and get to the top or something, and the robot will have like extendable arms, so they can grab onto grips or holds or whatever it's called in the wall climbing community, and this will be the method of movement, I guess. And of course, if the movement part works out fine, we'll probably add a bunch of obstacles and stuff to collect, maybe power-ups, who knows what else. But the main thing today that I would be very happy to achieve is to have the movement mechanic working and to have it in a sufficiently fun state, I guess. So yeah, this is our plan, and I'm going to check chat from time to time, and I will probably forget about it at times as well, but yeah, while Tibor appears, exactly. Yeah, by the way, Tibor, you're not reading the chat, I guess, but Bernardo said that, all right, okay. Yeah, he said that he loves your art, you know, but he already said it a couple times, I think I mentioned it already, yeah. Oh, okay, so I am going to get started. I have a little template project which just has the GMTK Jam logo, which is which I only added for the sole purpose that I wanted to export the game already, not even the game, but the empty project. So I uploaded it to itch already, and I will be updating this build from time to time during the stream. And of course, if we possibly end up working on the game off stream, I will also keep updating this page, but at one point we will probably move it to a different itch page anyway, because yeah, we don't have a title for the game yet, of course, but once we have one, we will move it to the laser magnet itch.io page, I think. So yeah, okay, I'm going to get started now. So I'll probably get rid of this logo, and right away I'm going to start by adding our little character. Beautiful entry already. Yeah, amazing animation, just a little sign, scaling and rotation. So sprite, and per usual I am going to draw a little white circle, and this will be our temporary player graphics, so something like that, I guess. I don't know why I didn't fill it with something. Okay, so this is all right. The origin is in the middle. I don't really care about the collision polygon at this point, I think, but just to be sure, I think I'm going to have construct guess it, which is all right. And I'm definitely sure that I'm going to have to name this little dude. Go with the boring name, player, and I'm going to add the physics behavior on it right away, because this is definitely something that we'll need. So the physics behavior in construct basically means that you can tell an object to move at a certain, I mean, you can move objects with forces and torque and stuff like this, so this is exactly what we need. Also, I will probably need to have some platforms or walls that the player will collide with, so for now I'm going to create a little placeholder art, which is also my go-to method. Just a single white pixel and that's it. Boom. So this will be something to collide with for now. And also I am going to change the color with the color overlay property to something else, like, I don't know, just so it's not exactly the same. And I'm also going to add the physics behavior on it, which is required if you want to objects to interact in the physics behavior realm in Construct. So yeah, for the player, I think I'm going to set the collision mask to a circle, which is the simplest collision mask that is available, of course. And I am also going to set the platform, which I haven't named yet, but now I'm going to say it's called wall. And I'm going to set the immovable property, which means that it will not be affected by gravity and it will not be moved by any force because it's a static wall. So I'm just going to copy this object a few times, make some slopes and stuff like this, just so we can test the physics behavior right away. So at this point, I'm going to just run the game and see if everything is up. Okay, so I will be using a bunch of keyboard shortcuts per usual. Okay, so this is how we get started. Just a little circle, a sphere or something that is, yeah, colliding with these walls and nothing happens and there's no control. Not yet anyway. Good. So, I'm pretty sure that I will need to have some sort of gamepad control in this game because we talked about this, and for now I'm only going to focus on gamepad input, and I may or may not add some keyboard alternatives as well, and also quite possibly touchscreen stuff. But yeah, this is not something that I want to worry about right now. So I have a little I don't know, PlayStation PS4 or something gamepad. It's a friend of mine's, so I'm not very familiar with it, but it should work. And Plinko, yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, and this is Tibon in chat, by the way. So yeah, back to the gamepad control stuff. So I added the gamepad object, which is just a global, essentially, that allows any kind of gamepad input to be handled by the game. And for now, I'm just going to add some super basic controls so that the player can actually move around, and for this I think I'm going to opt for the analog sticks. So what I had in mind, and I also noted down on the to-do list, is that we need to have some sort of mid-air control using the analog stick, so the player can apply some minor force and, you know, start to swing around, for example, and stuff like this. And also when the player is on the ground, it would be good if this sort of control would also work, but in this case I think it would be better to have torque instead of the classic force, so the player will actually have some rotation control while on the ground. Now, good question is, how will I exactly implement this stuff? Because if I was using the platformer behavior for the movement controls, or the movement mechanic, it would be very easy because the platform behavior simply allows you to check if you are on the ground, and you don't have to, you know, worry about any implementation at all because it's built in. However, with physics, it is not. So I'm pretty sure that with physics, I will have to do some collision checks, I guess. So for example, right below our player, I will add a little image point. And this image point will act as a little collision check, just a single pixel essentially. And yeah, it could work. However, now that I'm thinking about it, if the player will be rotating, I will not succeed by adding an image point right here because it will travel around as the player rotates. So for this, I'm already going to add my first helper object, which will be also a sprite. And I'm just going to have this essentially stuck to the player, but make sure that the angle of the player is not affecting the position of this little object. So I'm just going to go with a little 1 pixel art, I guess. It's not, but yeah. And this will be our little ground check object. So I will name it ground check object. No, just ground check, I think. And I will make sure that it is in a hierarchy connected to the player. So the connection is made, but I will also need to set up a couple properties right here. So I want the player's position to be applied to this little object. However, I really don't want the player's angle to be applied, so I will remove the checkbox from here. And if I run the game now, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, this is essentially what I wanted to have. So right now I can't move the player, but if I move them right here, we'll see what happens because it will move because of the slope. Okay, so this is kind of what I wanted. Whoops, okay. So essentially the little pixel that I increased in size a little will act as a collision checker. And if it's overlapping with a wall, that means that the player should have torque controls enabled. And if it's not overlapping, then they really shouldn't. So for now, since I'm a little on edge, I think I'm not going to bother by building everything in a clear way, and I will move stuff around later. I'm just going to use the generic level event sheet to start prototyping. This is how I usually roll anyway, so no pun intended. So yeah, I'm just going to add some basic checks. And for this, of course, I'm going to use the everyTick event, and with a subcondition, of course, that I want to check if the ground check object is overlapping a wall. So for this, I'm going to say is overlapping another object, and if that object is a wall, this means that the player should have the torque controls enabled. Now, I'm pretty sure that I already kind of messed some stuff up, not in a really significant way, but I usually have families for the main characters or main actors kind of in the game. So I'm just going to add the player to a family called player and a little underscore for now. And I will also move the physics behavior to this family, so it will be inherited on the player object. Rolling with it, exactly. Okay, so I will remove the behavior from here and add it right here. Good. The property I changed was this one, the circle. I haven't changed any of the other stuff like density, friction, elasticity, and stuff like this, but I will probably do that later. So right now it should work exactly the same, and essentially I want the player to have probably a little boolean or something, a variable that stores that whether they are on the ground or not. So this I will also add on the family level. So right here I'm going to create an instance variable called isOnGround. And for reasons I'm not going to get into right now, I don't really like using the Boolean data typing construct for variables, so I'm just going to set it to number and set its initial value to 0, which means false, and I will set it to 1, which means true anyway. But for these I will use these little macros. I already have a macro called no, which equals to 0, and another one called yes, which is a number, a global constant. Yeah, so this variable will hold either 0 or 1. So I'll just go back right here and I will make a little action that sets the value of the isOnGround variable for the player to yes, which is 1, but I prefer using macros for stuff like this because it's a little bit more readable, I guess. So player set is on ground to yes if it's overlapping, if the ground checker object is overlapping with a wall, and otherwise set it to no. And yeah, what I really need to do is add some input stuff. So for this, I'm going to use the gamepad global object, and I will probably need to do this compare axis condition check. So gamepad 0 means the first gamepad that is connected to the machine that the game is running on, and I will probably use the left analog stick for movement. So what I want to do is to check whether either the left analog stick's X or Y axis is not at the center. Also, just a reminder for anyone who's interested in the inner workings of construct, there's a little property in the gamepad object, which is the analog dead zone. So this means that under 25 by default, and this is on a 100 scale from 0 to 100, or from minus 100 to 100 to be exact. So when I'm reading axis values, it will be disregarded if it's under if it's between minus 25 and 25. I'm going to leave it as is right now. So this will essentially just check if I change it to or, because this is a condition that I want to be satisfied either if the X or the Y axis on the left analog stick is not centered. So this will essentially be the condition, for the first part of it anyway, that will facilitate the movement of the player. So if the player is pressing on the analog stick like a maniac, I will also check if the player is on the ground by checking the variable that I just added. So, sorry, what did I do? Okay, player variable is on ground set to yes. So this is the second condition that will also need to happen. And in this case, I will probably use some sort of torque application on the player object, which is under physics somewhere. So let's see our options. I will probably, filter it down a little. So there's apply torque towards an angle or towards a position. And there's also setting angular velocity, which is more of a raw approach. Okay, so I'm guessing that this will probably just mean that if I enter a positive value, then it will it will rotate clockwise and anti-clockwise or counterclockwise if I enter a negative one. Or I'm not so sure if this would be better, but yeah, okay, I'm just going to try this one first. I'm not really big on physics in Construct, by the way, so yeah, this is a bit of an experiment for me as well. I have no idea what values Construct is expecting me for the default physics settings, so I'm just going to quickly try this. And of course, this means that I will not be able to specify the angle, not yet, but the player should probably, if I place them on a solid surface that is not slanted. So I just want to try if the gamepad control is working at all. So if I press something on the analog stick, super slowly it starts to roll to the right, which is cool, I guess. However, this is not something that we want, because we also need to check the axis of the, or not the axis, but basically the, the x-axis of the left analog stick. So yeah. And to do that, I think I'm just going to, do something like, I have a utility function that maps values within two ranges, so takes an input range and produces an output range equivalent. So I will need to figure out what torque value would I want to be the max. Let's just see what happens if I set it to 5. Okay, so this is all right, I guess. Also, I will probably need to limit the possible amount of torque, but yeah, this is down the road anyway. Okay, so if the player is on the ground, this can happen. However, I will need to map the current value of the analog stick, which is between -100 and 100, to, I guess, -5 and 5. We'll see. So in functions, we have this little map value function that is in my template. So the old value is whatever is in the gamepad's x-axis. So gamepad 0, and the index is also 0, which means the left analog stick's x-axis. And this should be mapped from -100 to 100 and to -5 and 5. Right. So hopefully now I will be able to move to the left and the right as well. And yeah, indeed it is happening, which is nice. It's a little, yeah, the values are not great, not at the moment anyway. I think I will probably increase the value of 5 to something a little higher, but for this I will also produce, I think, an instance variable for the player, which will hold the maximum allowed torque value, essentially. So for these sort of things, which are not state variables, I like to name them with an R prefix, which stands for rule. So this will be the rule, essentially, that may or may not change during gameplay. For example, if I pick up a power-up that makes me move faster or something like that, then I can just change the value of this, and it will be used for the action that I'm building right now. So, okay. Épp Tibi. Jó, oksa, rendi csak. Tibor will be nipping off for a bit, but we'll be back later. Okay, so max torque, and I'm going to set it to 10. And right here I'm just going to replace the -5 with minus whatever is in players.max torque, I mean R max torque, and change this like this. So let's see how it behaves. It's acceptable, I think. Okay, so to test out the torque stuff and whether it's ignored while the player is not on the ground, I am going to add some visual flair, some horrible programmer art to this little ball, just a couple random rogue pixels, so it will be more obvious that it is in rotation at times. So if I move the player a little closer to the top and possibly remove this little platform, I will be able to test if the input of the gamepad's left analog stick is actually ignored when I start the game, because it really shouldn't. Yeah, it's not rotating at all, but once it landed, it is now rotating. So yeah, I guess this ground movement is more or less working at this point, which was the easy part. And the harder part will be the grab mechanic, which will be a good one, I think. So yeah, I think I'm going to put a little check mark right here. And also I will start thinking about how I want to implement the grip hold mechanic. I'm definitely sure that I will need to add some more sprites, because I actually want the grip points to be visible, of course. I think I'll just draw a little rectangle, and Tibor will later make some actual graphics as well. If everything works fine, even, because if the whole concept is dead, then we'll just go back to the drawing board and come up with something else probably, so yeah. Okay, so I am going to name this object grip for now, and I will add a couple of them on the level. These are just instances of the same object, and these will be the points that the player will be able to grip. Now, I want the player to have a little feedback, so when they are within a certain distance of a grip point, I want the grip point to have a little visual indication that they can actually be gripped from the distance that the player is at. So I will probably, for now, temporarily use the little color overlay or something to signify, to change the color essentially of the grip point and let the player know that it is an option to grip it. So yeah, for this I will probably just add the little check right here, and I will need to have a distance calculation. And this stuff will probably need to happen for the closest grip point only. So at first I'm going to pick the grip point that is the nearest to the player. Oops, damn it. So nearest player.x and player.y. I'm just going to make sure that construct grabs the closest one, and after it is grabbed I will need to calculate the distance between the two. So I will get back to this in a second, but first I will need to come up with a distance and store it also in a variable for the player, which can also possibly change later. So I'm going to add a new instance variable in the player family, and I will name it grab distance, grip distance, something like that. Okay, I'm going to say grab distance, and I will set its value to I'm not even sure on which scale are we for the layout and stuff. Okay, so the game is running at 640 by 360, so yeah, 30 is probably a little low for now. I'm going to set it to 80, which is probably a lot, but never mind. Okay, so what I want to check is that the distance of the player and the grip point, which is the nearest one, is actually less or equal to the value that is in the player's R grab distance variable, which is right now 80. And if it is, I will probably need to make this little visual effect on the grip point. So I'm just going to say grip set color, and this is really temporary stuff, so I'm not going to bother a lot. I'm just going to make it red by using the RGBX expression, which operates on a 0 to 100 scale, and it's yeah, and it's RGB. So yeah, I think this is enough explanation. So yeah, I am also going to need to set all grip points color to white at first, which is the default color overlay property, and this will mean that only one grip point will be red, and only the one that is closest to the player and within 80 pixels of distance, I think. We'll see. I run the game now, and I move the player a little. Okay, so now it's within 80 pixels, so the grip point turned red, and if I move, yeah, a little further, then it will go back to white. Yeah, I'm not saying that this is the best implementation, but it works. So for prototyping, I'm not going to, bother with anything that is more optimized. Yeah, okay, so we are in business. Hey there, Flavius. Finished pop-ups. What do you mean, pop-ups? I may be a little thick today, by the way, so yeah, my brain is a bit fried, but yeah, what do you mean by pop-ups? Also, Bernardo said that maybe increasingly longer grappling distance as you play could also play into the gem theme. Oh yeah, indeed it can. That's a good idea. Yeah, I have zero idea about in which direction I want to take the game. I just really want to have a little, wonky working prototype that is fun. But yeah, this is a good idea, so I'm going to, I think, take a note of it. With time, I guess, or yeah, as the player progresses. I think it's a little ambiguous, but this is a good thing in this case. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that power-ups would be also a good idea for stuff like this. Stuff that you pick up and for temporarily, I don't know, a couple seconds, you get a little extra distance or more movement control or something. Yeah, hopefully. Okay, so right now we have a grip that is available for the player, which is good. I will also additional to the color overlay stuff, I think I'm going to add an instance variable for the grip object as well that says is within grab distance, which is a horrendous variable name, but never mind, please bear with me. Also, there's a typo. So if a grip is within grab distance, I mean the player will be able to fire a little extensible hand towards it and grab it. So they will be stuck to it like something. I'm not saying ninja roping worms because I will probably make something much more simpler. I don't want to do rope physics, not right away anyway. So it will more like a rod, I guess, or something. I really have no idea how to do that. I know that there are joints and a couple different options for joints in construct physics, but I haven't really used them. Not a lot anyway, so I'm spending an innovation token right here. Okay, so for the grip, right, okay, I want to set the grips, damn it, set value is within grab distance, no, so all grips will be reset at every tick, but for the grip that is closest to the player, I will set the value of this variable to yes. So this will be something that I test later when the player is pressing the button to fire the little extensible arm or something, which is something that I have not really thought through. So I'm not quite sure whether we should, use like an analog stick to specify an angle. So the player will actually have to aim at a grip point, or just, press a button and the robot will automatically grab the nearest grip. I don't know. I'm not so sure. I think I will probably start with the latter option. And if it turns out to be too easy or something, then we can give some more hurdles to the player, I guess. So, okay, for now, I'm just going to test the whole joint stuff really quickly. So, gamepad. On button pressed. So essentially, if the player is pressing one of the buttons, for example, this is on an Xbox controller is an A button, and this will be the one that I use for now. If the button is pressed and there's a grip point that is within distance, then I want the player to fire a little extensible arm toward the grip point. And once it's connected, I want to essentially hinge the player to the grip point. Okay, so button press will happen here. Time progress pickups, I suppose, yeah, who knows, I don't. So we'll find out, we'll figure something out, I'm sure. Also, you can increase its size bit by bit for the player. Yeah, this is something that we also talked about. So one of the early ideas that we contemplated with Tibor is that we'll do some kind of mountain rescue scenario where you have to pick up stuff, but as you pick stuff up, you will actually get bigger, heavier, stuff like this. But this may or may not happen. However, increasing the size of the player would be, good second connection to the theme, which is scaling, build to scale. So, yeah, I'll probably do something like that. And also, then it would be good if the player could, decrease in size as well. So by progressing and increasing in size as picking up stuff, it would be good to have like something that the player touches or maybe presses a button and they will, shred the extra weight or something. Yeah. To aim is a bit harder for the player, definitely, but also just to press the button seems a bit, yeah. Yeah, I'm on totally 100% sharing your opinion, Flavius. However, I will need to consider this once we have like, a little level that the player can progress, and I really hope that we'll reach at this point very soon. And at that point, I will definitely push a little update. So if you guys have the time and the facility like a gamepad, you can totally try it and let me know what you think. So, okay, I was at the grabbing stuff. So for the extensible arm stuff, I will probably need to add a new object, because I actually want the arm to be like animated a little bit. So when the player starts pressing the button, I want the little arm to be increasingly extend, if that makes sense. And hopefully it will be, hopefully it will reach the grip point, although I'm not so sure what happens if the player moves too far while pressing the button, but we'll figure that out, I guess. So for now, I'm just going to go with the simplest solution. And I don't think I'm even going to bother with the the extension animation and stuff like this. I'm just going to create a new object that will act as the arm, and it will immediately be at the right size. So immediately connects the player to the closest, what was it called? Grip. Yeah. Okay, so for this, I think I'm going to also use a tiled background object type. And I will also just use the good old one single white pixel stuff and change its size to something like this. I'll change its color as well to something that is different, whatever. So the origin is in the top left at the moment. I'm going to change this to left, which means that vertically it's in the middle. And I think I'm also going to put this in hierarchy with the player. So the position will be exactly the same. And the little arm will not be visible by default, but for now this is fine, I think. And what do I want to sync? I don't want to sync the angle, definitely. I will not sync the width and the height of the little arm, because this will be controlled separately. I don't think I want to do anything with the Z elevation, so I'm just going to disable it as well. And for the X and Y position of the little arm, which I forgot to name, by the way, but now it is named arm. So the X and Y position will be hinged to the player, which is, or fixed to the player, which is fine. The tricky part is having the other, this little stuff will need to be connected to the grip point. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I should go with a sprite instead of a tiled background, because tiled backgrounds cannot have image points, which means that I only have I can only ask construct for the position of the origin, which is right here. So, okay, one step back. I am going to remove this and create a sprite instead. This is a great example of me not thinking stuff through, but this is just the usual method of development. So no need to panic. This is normal, guys. This is totally normal. So, okay. Let me do the same stuff that I just did. However, the origin will need to be on the left as well. And I will also add a new image point, as I mentioned, which will be, how should I name it? I don't know, grip, I guess, because, or maybe grip point, I don't know. I will need to create a macro for this, by the way. So yeah, the X should be 1. So essentially the origin is right here, and the other image point is right here on the other end of the sprite. So I'll name it arm, and I will also create a macro for this image point. Do I have a template? No. Okay, never mind. So I'm just going to create an image point macro, which is just a global constant, but construct does not have macros or enums and stuff like this. So the only option is to create a global constant, which works fine, by the way. So yeah, I don't think it's a big issue. Okay. So image points I prefix with IP usually, and I will enter the name of the image point as the value as well, which means that if I reference the name of this constant, it will actually return the same name that is the name of the image point on the arm sprite. So Right, okay. What I want to do is to, at first, make this invisible by default. I'm not so sure if I even need collisions, so I'm just going to disable it. And I'm also going to check chat, sorry guys. If there are interesting physics mechanics, just one button to grapple could still be fun. Managing momentum can be a fun part. Exactly what I'm thinking. Momentum could totally freaking work. So I'm not so sure if you guys played Worms, but I'm pretty sure that you probably did at one point in your life. The freaking ninja rope was the most fun I had with any of the weapons in Worms. And as I mentioned, I don't want to do proper rope physics, but something that is quite similar to this. So you can, you know, swing around like a totally uncontrollable, basically a robot ball or something. I'm not so sure what the art is going to be. I'm not so sure Tibor knows what the art is going to be, but yeah. So yeah, I want it to be quite fun. And swinging around is a big part of fun, I think, in a physics platformer anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to set the color of the arm to something that is a bit more noticeable. And I will disable these properties, so only the position of the arm is synced. And I also made sure that it's not visible by default. So when the player presses a button, where was I? Right here. I will need to check if there's a grip that is available for the player. And for this, I already created this little variable, so I just need to check. I just need to pick an instance of the grip object type that has the isWithinGrabDistance value set to yes, which is 1. Also, I'm not 100% sure that this part is foolproof, because with a really small chance, it's quite possible that there are two grips within the same distance. Probably not, it's not going to happen, but just to be sure, I'm going to randomly pick one of the grips, I think. If there are more than one that satisfies these conditions. But oh no, I'm stupid. Sorry, pick nearest. Okay, so it will only be one anyway. Okay, never mind. It's all good. Okay, so if the button is pressed, I'm going to select, pick the right grip, and I'm going to I'm going to need to do a couple things. One of the things is that I need to set the arm to visible. Set visible. And while the arm is visible, I will also need to change the arm's size, just the width, and also the angle. So also for the arithmetic condition, I'm going to add a new subcondition, and that says arm visible. So only if the arm is visible, I want to update its width and angle. So arm set width. What am I doing? Set width. I can't type today, sorry guys. So the width should be the distance between the player and the grip, which is tricky because I don't have, and in this condition, I don't have the grip picked. So I will need to mitigate that in a second. But I'm pretty sure that the width of the arm should be distance player.x, player.y, and grip.x, grip.y. So this will just extend or shrink the arm to the right size. Also, for the grip, is the origin at the right place? Yeah, it's in the middle. That's cool. Okay, so I also need to set the angle. Set angle toward position could also work, I guess. But yeah, just for consistency, I'm going to use the set angle action. So I'll just use the angle function that is built into construct, and essentially, because I'm lazy as something, never mind. So I'm just going to copy the distance stuff, set angle, and just replace distance with angle. So this will just calculate the angle between the player and the grip. And the grip I need to select. So there are a couple things I could consider, but since this will be a single player game, probably I will not think about optimization. I'll just And since there are only one grep object instances that has the isWithinGrepDistance variable set to 1 or yes, yeah, the easiest way to deal with this stuff is to just pick the grep object instance that has the value, variable that has the isWithinGrepDistance variable set to yes. That's it. This could work, I guess. We'll see. So yeah, this makes the arm visible, and this will also trigger this sort of shenanigans. However, this is only a visual for now. There's no physics joint shenanigans going on, but I guess we can probably just check how it looks for now. Captain Anosa, hi there and welcome to the stream. Good to have you. I hope you're doing fine. By the way, are you doing any gem stuff? Are you doing GMTK, for example? Because I am. Also, Flavius, what are these redeems? What the heck? Hydrate, stretch, posture check. Got it. Very nice of you. Thank you for thinking about my health. I'm not good on stretches, at stretches. Sorry, I don't know. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to make affiliate, but yeah, I may or may not want to add some actual comments. So there's like some sort of sound effect that also goes with these little redeems. I looked into Firebot, by the way, the other day, and I'm seriously considering using it, but at first I just want to get back to streaming because I had like a 1 month break or something, so yeah. You're not doing GMTK, but doing a gem this weekend. Nice. Solo dev. Oh yeah, this is the one by Captain Coder and Practical NPC, right? I think. Oh yeah, I know that you use Firebot. One of the reasons that I started looking into Firebot is because I saw it. So you use it, I think, or mention it, and also Captain Coder. Yeah, Firebot I like because it's you know, not like a cloud service or something. It runs on your machine. It's open source. I think I will probably give it a go very soon. Let me just check that gem, by the way. Okay, starts in 6 days, so this is next week. Cool. And it will be a 3-day gem, right? Yeah, I think I actually made a little note in my calendar for this one as well. I'm pretty sure I did. So if the theme will be a good one, I may or may not join as well. Hopefully I will. I'll just, it depends on whether we can, you know, turn this game into something for GMTK. But if we do, then we'll probably keep updating it because I'm doing this small community, Hungarian community game jam stuff called 1 game a month. It's not an official one, but it's essentially the same. And 1 game a month is the gem is usually in the format that there are 3 themes and 1 modifier that is optional, and you have to choose at least one of the themes. And for this month's, do I have it open? No. So this month's 1 game a month gem, one of the themes is whatever the theme for the GMTK gem theme is. So yeah, we can probably, you know, go with this game for the 1 game a month gem as well, if everything turns out fine. So that's my plan anyway. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone is always good. So yeah, okay. I am intrigued indeed. Yeah. Thank you, nerds. Good luck with the stream and have fun. I'll try to pop in. As soon as I get stream rain, I will probably raid over there, possibly. But I will definitely check in later with you guys, and also tomorrow. So yeah, have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it a lot. Right, so where was I? Okay, I just want to check the gamepad's A button stuff, or not A button, it's an X. But yeah, what happened? Something's off. The gamepad is not responding. Question is, did I disconnect it accidentally, or is Windows acting up on me again? Okay, so it's right here. It should work. Okay, it's definitely working. I might have caused some other issues, however. So this part is not working for now. But why is that? Whoops, sorry, wrong window. Okay. So the little ground check object is definitely overlapping the wall object, which means that the set is on ground action should be running. However, there's a bit of an issue. Please hold. I'm just going to add a little debug stuff. So I'm just going to lock some stuff to the console if the gamepad controls are working. And by that I mean that if a value is returned from the analog stick, and if the player has the is on ground variable set to yes. But yeah, it's not. Okay, so something's up with the game, but I think possibly in construct, which is a bit weird, because yeah, this part is not running either. I'm just going to disconnect it and reconnect it and see if something happens. The weird part is that it was working in this little Windows setting page stuff, so maybe Chromium is acting up, because Construct is running on Chromium or whatever browser you prefer, but you should probably prefer Chromium for the best performance. So in my case, it is Chromium. Okay, so now it's working. So yeah, I just had to restart the gamepad. Cool. Okay, nice. I don't need this anymore. And also I wanted to check the little ARM extension stuff. It's not even an extension yet, but the ARM that appears if I go close and press A. Okay, so it's not ideal because there's a little flash at first before the arm's width and angle are adjusted. Also, there's some weirdness right here. Okay, never mind. So I think I'm just going to put the part of the code that updates the width and the angle of the arm into a custom action, which is essentially a function, but a function that is related to an object type, not a global function. So I'm just going to say tick for this one, and I'll probably start moving stuff around anyway, because yeah, it's getting a little cluttered right here. So arm tick, okay, this needs to go here, and within grab distance stuff is all right, but once the grab is established, I will also need to, you know, keep updating the arm's width and angle, even if the player is no longer within grab distance, because the grab has already happened and they are stuck to the grip point anyway. So okay. I think I'm going to remove this, or one better, I think I'm going to store the object instances UID on the arm. Let me just elaborate a little bit. So in construct, all object instances have a unique number. They are called UIDs, and you can reference these, of course, in a bunch of places. So once the connection is established, I want the arm bit, or maybe the player, I don't know, why not? So either of one is fine. Maybe I use it on the player just to be sure. So I'm going to add a state variable to the player as a family instance variable to be exact, that says connected grip UID, and by default it will be -1. UIDs by default cannot go under 0, so below 0, sorry. So -1 means that there is definitely not an object instance stored in this variable. It's the equivalent of empty, which is cool. I have a little constant called nothing, which has the value of -1. I usually use that to reference stuff like this. Okay, so let me just go back here. So this is where the connection is established, and once it is established, I want the player's instance variable that I just added to be replaced with the UID of the grip object, which will be grip.uid. Right, okay, so once this is done, this also means that the arm should be made visible. So how should I do that? I'm going to remove this and this as well. I'm just going to say player variable connected grip UID is not equal to nothing, so not equal to -1. If this happens, that means that I will need to show the arm and also update its width and angle. So I'm just going to say arm and tick. So keep updating it. And also I will need to make it visible. So I'll just add arm set visible after it has been updated. So there shouldn't be any more little flashes of the original size and angle. I'm in the default one, so this could work. And yeah, I think this is fine. And also for here, I need to make a little picking stuff, which I removed earlier. So I'm just going to say grip select by UID or pick by UID and player dot connected, or what was it called? Connected grip UID stores the right UID of the grip object, of the right instance, of course. So yeah, I guess this could work, unless I made a mistake. Let me just check. I'll probably move the player around a bit. So okay, there's still a little flash, but right. Okay, so even though if I move further, the arm still keeps updating, which is cool. What I don't really understand is that why is there a little flash of the default size and angle of the little arm, because the order of operations right here clearly states that the tick should happen first and then it should be set to visible. Let me just think about that. Oh, I know. This is not needed anymore. Oh, I also wanted to move the player a little closer, or maybe one of the grips a little closer, so it immediately gets highlighted when the player lands. Okay, so this is better. Let me just increase the window size a little, but yeah. So yeah, you can move around and only one of the grips will be visible, and this is cool. Okay, so even though there's no joint yet, the arm is visible and it's updating correctly, I guess. So I'm going to move on. And also the nerds are starting right now, I think. It's usually at 4 o'clock in my local time. Okay, so right, okay. I'm going to move some stuff around because I no longer feel comfortable with this sort of thing. So I will definitely need to use the eCycles event sheet because this is where I usually put the everytick event. So I'm just going to, I just removed the little underscore prefix, which I used to signify that these event sheets are completely empty. These are just from the template that I always use. And also I will probably need to create a separate event sheet that will hold the custom actions of the player and stuff like this. So I'm going to name it a player because this is related to the player, and I'm just going to go with my usual emoji. I like to use emojis so I can locate the right event sheet quickly when I'm, glancing at the top of the construct window. So I'm going to just look for the usual emoji person, even though it will probably not be a humanoid looking character, but yeah, the player is the player, which usually is a person anyway, so yeah. Okay, let me just move this custom action right here, and also I think I'm going to change the parent to the player, or more like the player family, to be sure. So yeah, this I will probably use at reuse later, so I'm just going to restructure things a little bit. So player tick will be called at every tick. And yeah, I'm not going to bother about optimization. I'm just going to call the player tick at every tick. So I'm just going to say player and tick. Boom. So this is the ground check stuff. This can also go right here. This will also need to run every tick anyway, because the player might be moving around, and they will be probably moving around all the time. So yeah, this is the grip stuff. I guess this could also, yeah, I could probably move that there as well, because it is quite related to the player. This part of the code shows which grip is closest to the player, so I'm just going to put it in the same custom action anyway. And also the arm and the visibility. Yeah, okay, so I think I'll just move all of this here as well. And I'm going to add some comments, because why not? So this is the part that highlights, or yeah, the closest grip within grab distance. Okay, this part show hide arm, because I will also need to set the arm to invisible as soon as the connected grip UID variable becomes -1. So yeah, okay, this is the, whoops, this is the ground check. I'm also going to add a comment here as well. Check if player is on the ground, is on ground. I don't know, my English is, yeah, not great. Okay, so this is the part where the arms width and angle are updated. So update arm, boom. So this will also mean that this arm update stuff will run at every tick, not just when the arm is visible, but this is fine. This is totally fine. Okay, much better. Also, I'm going to move some stuff to the e-input sheet, because everything that is related to any kind of input handling, I just put right here. I'm going to create a group called player, and into this group I will move these event handling stuff. And this will also need to be a little cleaner at one point, but for now this is fine, because it's not that much code anyway. Okay, so this is where we are at this point, and we need to move on to the physics joint stuff, definitely, because right now the visuals are all right for the arm, but there's no actual connection happening. So okay, how should I do that? That is the question. So essentially, when the player is pressing the button, this one, I need to create the joint as well. And for this, I'm first going to take a look at the construct docs, because there are a bunch of different joints in the construct physics world, and I'm not so sure which one I need. There's definitely one that is like a static one, like a rod that is fixed in size. But there are also, I don't remember their name, but I'm going to find out soon anyway, which has a little spring-like mechanic. So it's essentially flexible or elastic or something. So yeah, I'm just going to look for joints. Oh, sorry, this is a tutorial. Okay, I don't want the tutorial, I just want the docs. Okay, so create distance joint. Fix two physics objects at a given distance apart as connected by pole. Right, okay, so this is the static one, and I probably need to use the other one. It would be more fun to have a little elasticity in the arm, I guess. Although I'm not sure, so we'll find out. So yeah, create revolute joint or limited revolute joint. Hinge two physics objects together so they can rotate freely as if connected by a pin. Okay. And the third one is the prismatic joint. Ooh, okay, let me just try to understand this stuff. Limited revolute joints only allow rotation through a certain range of angles, but I'm guessing that, you know, you can set it to 360 or something. Limited revolute joints only allow rotation through a certain range. Okay, this is fine, like a clapper of a bell. Okay. Image point can also be specified. Okay, so I'm just going to check out the prismatic joint because I have a hunch that I will need this one. Restrict the movement of two physics objects along a specific axis given by its angle. Oh no, this is not something that I need, I think. Okay, I'm just going to get cooking. So, player joint. Distance joint, limited revolute joint, okay. Okay, so the distance joint, actually I skipped over probably something. Because the distance joint actually has damping and spring properties, so I'm guessing that it's not actually that harsh on the distance anyway. So, okay, I might probably go with this one at first. Let me just think about it. So I create the joint from the player, so I'm guessing this image point 0 is fine. 0 signifies the origin of the object, which is in the middle at this point for the player object. And for the other one, I need to specify the grip object and the instance that we pick right here. And I'll probably just use the 0 image point, which is once again the origin of the grip object. And I don't know what should I set, the damping and spring stuff, but yeah, joint damping ratio from 0 to, which is no damping, to 1 critical damping, whatever that means. I'm totally crap at physics, by the way, so yeah, I should probably know, but I don't. Mass spring damper frequency in hertz. Holy crap. Okay, let me just leave it as is and see if something happens. Also, I think I will probably need to add some way to cancel the grip or the connection. So when the A button is pressed, I want to check at first whether the player is already connected to a grip point, which will be obvious once I check the instance variable connected grip UID on the player, because if it's equal to nothing, then it means that we can probably try to establish a connection, which is done right here. However, if it's not equal to nothing, that means that the arm is already visible and it shows that the player is connected to a grip point. However, at this point, I will probably need to remove the current distance joint and also clear the variable that stores the reference to the grip, I think. Okay, let me just check. So at first I'm going to remove the joint, remove all joints. Okay, I guess this is the only option, but this is fine. I'm not going to use any more joint, I think, in the player. So cool. And And also we'll need to set the variable so it's cleared up, and it's once again moved back to this default value of -1, which I reference by the global constant nothing. So player set value connected grip UID nothing. Done. Or maybe not done, but yeah, let me just check. Damn this freaking gamepad. I'll probably need to disconnect. Maybe it's sleeping or something, I don't know, but now it's fine. Okay. Okay, so the joint stuff is not great. Something's off. But it seemed to me that the connection can be cancelled if I press it again. So yeah, this is cool. Okay, I'm not so sure whether I added the physics behavior on the grip, and I think it's probably needed for this joint stuff to work, but let me just check the docs again. Or maybe not even check the docs, just add the freaking behavior and be done with it. So yeah, okay, for the grip object, I'm going to add the new behavior called physics. And I will also need to turn them into immovable ones. And I don't want this to collide with the player. So I think when the player is initialized, which is not something that I have done, not yet anyway, I want the collision filter to be disabled with between the player and the grip object type. So for this, I just go the usual route of creating a new custom action for the player, for the family. Ooh, 1 second, I think Tibor might be here. Oh yeah, he's back. You done okay?
Yes.
That's cool. Nice. All good. Taken care of, yeah. So yeah, init was the name of the custom action I wanted to create. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I'm going to finish up this stuff, and in 5 minutes or something, probably less, we can take a coffee break. Flavius, did we discuss the art as well? If you mean by the art for this game, not really, not yet. I mean, we are not even certain what kind of creatures would we want the player to look like, and the possibly other enemies or stuff like this. So yeah, it's early days. For now, I think I just really want to get the base mechanics working, and you know, we can make a decision whether they are fun enough and whether they are a good base for something that is more elaborate. And after that, we'll probably have a prompt discussion about the art. So yeah, that's the plan anyway. Okay, player init. Okay, what did I want to do? Oh yeah, I remember now. Player, some kind of filter stuff, but not the collision filter, because this is not for physics. I think there's a separate action. Oh yeah, physics global settings, enable disable collisions. This is what I wanted to add. So I want the grip object to be not to be colliding with the player. So this is, I think, what I need. And this is just something that I need to run at one point. And for this, I usually use an event sheet called eCreated. And this only contains events that have the condition something is created. So in this case, player created, or let me just, yeah, not player, but the player family. Player created. And yeah, when a player is created, I want the player's init custom action, essentially a function, to run. So this should work. And this should disable collisions with the grip object, so the player will just, you know, keep falling through the grips if they encounter one. I'm just going to add this, for example, right here, just to test whether the collision disable filter stuff is working fine or not. And hopefully this will also make the joint stuff work. And if it doesn't, then I'm going to check some official examples and possibly the docs as well. Because as I said earlier, I'm not so sure how to do this kind of stuff in Construct. Okay, so the player is definitely falling through the grips, which is cool. I think the freaking gamepad is acting up again. Oh yeah, I just need to, essentially, once I run the game, I need to reconnect the gamepad. That's cool. By the way, I'm not so sure. Tibor, do you know if this works with Bluetooth?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I have no idea.
PS4?
I've never had a PS, so yeah, I have zero idea. A friend of ours has a PlayStation in the apartment that we are in, and he kind of left these controllers here, which are cool. Okay, so this is something that seems to be working, I think, because I can't really move anyway because of the joint, I think. Let me just check one thing quickly. Yep, this is nice. Whoa, cool. Whoa. Okay, that's too far. That's a good start. And it's also a good place to take a little break, I think. Yeah, okay. That's cool. I think this is something that basically we wanted. So using the momentum and stuff like this is definitely something that we want the player to consider when moving around. However, as I already might have mentioned it, I want the player to have a little air control as well. So if they are not on the ground and they are connected to a grip point, I want them to have a little minor ability to wiggle around a little bit so they can gain momentum essentially while connected to a grip point. Okay, this is nice. I think we are going to have a little break, probably like 10 minutes. I know that it's not great for streaming, but yeah, the problem is that we talked about coffee, which takes time, so yeah. I think I'm going to hit the pause button, and if you guys are still around in 10 minutes, that's cool. But if you're not, this is totally fine too. We'll be definitely here in about 10 minutes. BRB. And we are back. Let me just check what you sent, Flavius. I downloaded the videos. I have still a little bit of a quirky setup, so let me just check the stuff that you sent. By the way, the organization system, I love it. I am also considering using Obsidian, by the way. I used Google Keep for the random notes, but as it turns out, there's a little extension for Obsidian that is a way that Obsidian can import stuff from Google Keep. So I will need to try that, and if I manage to import all my old notes from Google Keep, I will probably move to Obsidian as well. Okay, so let me just check the videos that you sent. Ooh, a proper tutorial screen. Okay, so this was the pop-up that you mentioned. Okay, now I made the connection. Let me just pause it a little bit and check it out. Maybe there's a little bit of a little too much text, but definitely this is clear, so I know what your intention was. Double jump, first jump, perform double jump. Yeah, maybe it's a little long, but nevertheless, this is a nice start, definitely. Yeah, maybe it's a little over the top with the notes, but I think some people will definitely appreciate it. So very cool. Let's just check the other video. Yeah, also cool. So are you moving the input prompt stuff from the home screen as well to here, or are you just using this as like a second opportunity to tell the player about the input stuff? Yes, it's probably better, and then you can have a more clear menu screen. So this is nice. Yeah. Couple of typos, I think I detect here, but yeah, this is neat. Did you manage did you find the UI implementation stuff easy in Godot? I mean, making this pop up, was it an easy task, or was it something that you had to I don't know, struggle with a little to get it working? Because I hear that Godot has pretty freaking good UI facilities, so I would guess that it was probably an easy implementation, hopefully. So the game is also paused, I'm guessing, when the pop-ups are open. Yeah, this is really nice. And this is the button to close the pop-up or something, or because if it's operated with the mouse, I would say that maybe it would be a little better to just have a little text that press, I don't know, space to close or something. So the player don't have to, you know, use the mouse, because you don't use the mouse in the game anyway. So it would be probably a little better if they could stick to using the gamepad or the keyboard to close the pop-up. One other conventional way of doing things like this to prevent the player from closing the pop-up unintentionally is to open up the pop-up and then have a little delay that maybe shows up right here in the bottom. That says something like wait a bit or something, and like in 2 seconds the close prompt appears, so the player will actually look at the pop-up for at least 2 seconds before closing it. I remember, for example, Borderlands did that in the first tutorial part of the game. When something new came up, then you got like this modal pop-up that you can only close after a couple seconds. This is very cool, by the way. Nice job. Let me just check chat just a bit. It's hard if you use pop-up mode, but with canvas layer is much easier. Oh yeah, because this is just, I guess, a separate layer that is totally not affected by the camera and stuff like this. Relax is to close the pop-up, and for the moment you can close it with the mouse. Okay. This is totally fine temporarily, but since your game doesn't really use the mouse, I would suggest that you add the ability to for the player to close the pop-up with either the gamepad or the keyboard. It would be better UX, I think. Right, okay, so where was I? By the way, thanks for the updates. I love looking at the new stuff that you add to the game. It's really neat, and you are also making good progress. And one of the hardest things about, you know, making your first big game, I would guess, I would say that, is to keep the momentum and the inspiration to do it. And it's really nice that you managed to do that, because yeah, I sometimes didn't. So yeah. Okay, so let me just check my notes. So grab, grips, or holds. I think I named them grips. Within a certain distance. I would say that this can be checked now. And apply force midair with analog stick to move around. This is something that I want to add. However, I'm contemplating making a little change to the way that the arm works, so it doesn't immediately appear at the correct distance, but instead it has like a little delay. So it starts extending, and at one point it will reach the grip. And this is when the connection is made. So the player will have to time the button presses that trigger the arm a little better. So it's not immediate, but there's a little delay because of the extension stuff. So, right, I'm just going to check how things are. Why is this here, by the way? I wanted to move this to the eCycles event sheet, but I haven't. So let me just do that first. Okay. You're going to set the focus to the button. I'm not so sure what you mean by focus in this case. Meanwhile, I'm going to have a little think about on how do I want the extension to happen. Because it will have to be gradual, may or may not have to be eased, so it's not a linear tween, essentially. And also, because the player will be probably moving around when this happens, definitely, I will need to think about some stuff to have the correct implementation. So, okay, I would say that maybe I will need to add like a little utility object once again. So essentially when the player is pressing the button, I want a little object to start moving from the player's position to the grip point. And once it has reached the grip point, I want the joint to be created. And right now the joint is created immediately, so some of the code will have to change. The question is, do I want the player to, or do I want to hurdle the player by putting them into situations like, for example, when they are moving so freaking fast that when they start extending the arm to grab a grip point, but they are moving further away from the grip point, that is the maximum length that is specified right now. So I don't know, should the grip fail at this, in this case? This is a good question. At first I think I'm just going to do the gradual extension of the arm, and then I'll figure out the rest. Also, I'm pretty sure I'm going to add the sprite at the end of the grip, because there will probably have to be some sort of visible object at the end of the arm anyway, like a big hand or something. So I'm just going to create a new sprite for this. And I think I'm going to name it hand, because I did name the arm, so it would make sense. And I think I'm going to quickly draw like a little rectangle or something. Oops, I screwed up the origin. Okay. So just turn on the grid for a second. Boom. Okay, so where do I want the origin to be? I think this would be a good point. So this will be the end of the arm. Okay, it's a little big. I'm going to decrease its size, and I'm also going to do I want to fix it in a hierarchy to the arm, or do I want to do that somehow some other way? Okay, I'm going to add a little color, and I'm also going to attach the hand to the player in the hierarchy, although this is not needed. I'm not going to sync anything. Oops, I think I screwed it up. Let me just try that again. So I'm going to add it to the hierarchy. And I'm not going to sync anything in this case. Just in case this game turns out to be multiplayer, like local co-op or something, I want the player to have an instance of everything that is related to their body or something. And it would be good practice to have like a template that has all the parts, and if I add another player, then it will just have all the same parts as well. So okay, I am going to disable the visibility of this little hand stuff, and I'm pretty sure that I want the hand to start moving with either the move to behavior or I was thinking tween, but I think move to should be fine. Move to is just one of the simplest movement behaviors in Construct. essentially it's for moving stuff by positions, by coordinates. So you specify a movement speed, you specify where you want a certain object to move, and it will just move that to that specific position, which is exactly what we need because of the grips, because the grips will stay at the same place anyway. Unless we are going to add moving grips later, I don't know.
Sounds fun.
Maybe not for now, but yeah. For now, the move to behavior should be sufficient, so okay. I'm not going to change the speed, acceleration, deceleration, stuff like this yet, but I will at one point. So let's just update some things. So when the button is pressed and the grip is within grab distance, I definitely want the hand to be set to the position of the player. Set position, or yeah, we could technically do something like set position to another object, and I don't even have to specify the X and Y coordinates. Why not? This just means that it will set its position to the origin of the player object. And this is where I also want to tell the hand to start moving. Hand, whoops, hand, and I'm going to check the actions for the move to behavior. So move to position is probably fine. And the position should be the grip's position, so grip.x and grip.y. And this is the part where the connection actually happens. So this will need to happen somewhere else, because I only want the connection to be made if the player is actually, I mean the hand is actually has reached the grip point. So for now I'm going to just put some stuff here and I'll move it later. So hand, I think there's like an arrived or some kind of condition. On arrived, exactly. So the move to behavior has the on arrived trigger. I can use this to find out when the hand has reached the grip point. And this is exactly where I need to put the joint and connected grip stuff. So this I'm going to cut, paste right here. And also I will need to update the part where the arms width and angle are updated, which also happens right here. So okay, so the width will have to be the distance between the player and the and the hand. No longer the player and the grip point. And the angle will also have to work the same way. So instead of grip, I'm changing it to hand.x and hand.y. And in this case, I don't even need to pick the grip because I just don't need to. So yeah. Another thing is that I only want the hand to be visible once the player has successfully started the grabbing action, I guess. So hand visible, set visible, yes. This can happen here. And when the player is removing the current connection, I want it to be invisible right now, but this might change later. So maybe it should, you know, what's the opposite of extend? Contract. So maybe it should move back gradually to the player, but this is fine for now, I think. I'm just interested in the extension part for now. Ooh, sorry, chat. I completely forgot about chat sometimes. Sorry, Flavius. Let me just, yeah. So you're going to send it because, yeah, okay, this is where I left things off. Also, I set up GitHub desktop for version control. Really nice. Because I lost a bit of progress on the game last week when your SSD died. Damn. RIP SSD. This is like some kind of, I don't know, like a menace or something, because Tibor had an SSD death recently. Or was it an SSD or was it an HDD?
It was the motherboard and the...
Oh yeah, okay, sorry, I got confused. Yeah, the SSD death was a couple months back or something, right?
It was an HD.
HDD, yeah. Yeah, things break. Oh, sorry, things break. So yeah, it's also good to have backups by themselves, but GitHub is kind of a, I think, quite a trustworthy backup target. So, but maybe, you know, something else other than GitHub might also be a good idea. For example, I store all my stuff in Dropbox, which is, once again, automatic cloud backup, essentially. So yeah, and now every time I turn on a PC, GitHub desktop opens. If I make any changes to the game, GitHub detects them and does not let you, close GitHub until you commit changes. Harsh but fair. This is cool. Yeah. GitHub is also great because you essentially make checkpoints with every commit. So if you, for example, remove something that you wanted to put back into the game or something, you don't really have to worry about it because you can just go back in history and go back to any of the previous commits and any of the previous states of your game, and you can, you know, figure out what did you want to copy from the old version, for example. This happens to me a bunch of times. I have some projects that I just simply create new versions of the project file of, but for projects that I'm doing for clients, I also always use GitHub. So yeah. Have I ever made a GDD? No. So the thing is, I have a little bit of a issue with game design documents. Game design documents by default, because I do subscribe to the idea that game design documents are for bigger studios, more serious projects and stuff like this, and I don't really see the point of making one for a prototype that I'm not even sure where I'm going to end up with. So I don't know. I find it a little bit weird, for example, in the Pirate Software Game Jam, that Thor is asking everyone to make a game design document, but I totally get why he's doing it, but it's for a different reason. I think it's for essentially a part of a, partially probably because of the planning phase, but also once you made the game, that might have changed during the game design document's initial version. You can basically log all the changes, or even maybe refer to the fact that you diverted from your original vision or original concepts. So it's like, I think the GDDs for game jams are more of documentation, more for documentation purposes, not exactly proper game design document purposes. Because by default, I would consider a game design document like a recipe or something that you follow and you just implement everything. But maybe I'm totally wrong on this as well, so I'm not so sure. However, I can recommend a good video from, I don't know, like 6-8 years ago. The guys from Butterscotch Shenanigans have a bit of a GDD version as well, and they actually I think Seth made a very good talk. Let me just find it. Designed by Chaos, it's called, I think. It was at the GDC, and it's a really good one. What the frick am I doing? This is not what I wanted. I thought that if I put a little Y in the beginning, then it will automatically search YouTube. This is how I have my other browser, Firefox, set up. So let me just... This is not going to cut it, is it? Oh no, it totally does. Nice. So this is a video that I wholeheartedly recommend checking out, because they talk about the exact situation that sometimes you just want to explore the possibilities and you don't want to worry about plans and any kind of documentation. So when they made Crashlands, and not just Crashlands, but for example Crashlands, they're one of their breakout successes, I guess, one of their first proper breakout success. They iterated a lot and never thought about making a game design document, and the game freaking worked and it was a success. So it's definitely not needed, not all times anyway. But then again, they are a small, like a 3-person studio, whatever, at that point. So it wouldn't have made any sense to have a game design document for the reason that you are coordinating like 100 people and they need to, you know, cook from the same recipe or something. You are very welcome. By the way, the Butterscotch Shenanigans guys also have a podcast, which is not just informative, but also freaking funny as well. They are 3 brothers. They are making games together. They have been for like, I don't know, 15 years or something. And it's a treat. I like listening to them from time to time. I have listened to like 150 episodes of their podcast, but I've been neglecting it a little bit in the last couple of months. But it's great for, you know, for example, when you're just traveling somewhere and you want to listen to something that is game development related. This is also a good choice. But they also have a bunch of good advice mentioned in their podcast as well. And also the other guy, the artist in their team, Sam, also has a great GDC talk. It will probably in the related video in the link that I sent. It's really, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it's an emotional one. I think it's called like making a game before you die or something. And yeah, it was not exactly a complete hogy van a túlzás? Exaggeration, sorry. The words can sometimes cannot arrive in my mind at the right time. So yeah, okay. Sorry, I am yapping. What was I doing? Okay, I was doing something with the arm and the hand and the stuff that makes it move. So okay, let me just check where things are at the moment. And I start by reconnecting the freaking gamepad. Yeah, I'll probably do that. Okay. Okay, so something's working. It's not finished yet. I will definitely change the max speed to something higher. I think I'll remove the acceleration, deceleration stuff. I'm not even sure if deceleration is used or how it is used in this case, but never mind. I'm just going to remove it for now. Okay, it's all right, I guess. Let me just restart it. That's a bit weird. What the frick is happening here? I think it's locked to the wrong point. Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure that even though the arm is connected to this one, actually the joint is between the player and this grip point. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Bit of an inconsistency. I'm going to fix that. Okay, so when the hand arrives, I am establishing the joint, but the right grip is not picked. So I need to pick it. Right, so I need to store the grip that is targeted to be grabbed, but not connected yet on the player. Just like I right now store the connected one right here. So I'm going to add the new instance variable called targeted. Is this the right thing of the word? I don't know. Okay, so targeted grip UID. By default, it will be -1, just like the connected one. And when the connection, I mean the grabbing stuff starts, I need to set the value of this variable. So player set value targeted grip UID, and I'm going to set it to the grips UID, which is already the right one, the picked one. And when it arrives, I need to pick the right grip. So pick, grip, pick by unique ID, and I'm going to say player dot targeted grip UID. And this is where the connection is actually set, which is good. Let me just check if this fixed the issue, if I can even reproduce it. I mean, if I would be able to reproduce it, but hopefully. I really need to add like a button for the gamepad that allows restarting the game. Let me just also do that. So this is where the laziest form of restarting the game, reloading the freaking tab, happens. I think I'm just going to reset global variables and also restart the layout instead, so it's quicker. And not just R will be the trigger, but also gamepad on button pressed. And I'm going to say button Y is the top one, I think. I am going to check it right now. Gotta go, doing a wedding, going to a wedding. Whoa, nice. See you next stream, take care, stay safe, stay awesome, save often, good luck. Thank you so much. And also, I'm pretty sure that Tibor seconds my sentiments. Yeah, my streamer brain is setting in, I think. Thank you so much for sticking around, Flavius. I always appreciate when you're here. And have a good fun at the wedding. I guess it will probably... I mean, I don't know if what kind of weather have you got. Hopefully a good one. Right here we are not in the optimal weather conditions, not for a wedding anyway, but I hope that you will have fun. And see you around, of course. So, okay. I'm going to check the restart stuff again. Okay, works fine. The grabbing stuff also works okay, I guess. Something fishy is going on. Right. I will really need to add air control because I can't really test the level properly until I do. Meanwhile, I wanted to push a build to itch, I think, so I'm just going to do that quickly. Because why not? And also I'm going to move to a new version of the project file soon. I mean, right after I finished the export. Okay, this should be in the right folder, hopefully. And I'm just going to call my usual utility that uploads the latest version to itch using the CLI butler. And also, I'm going to check after it's finished that it's actually on itch. Okay, should be good. Quick restart. Something definitely has been uploaded because it's loading for the first time, which is a good sign. And indeed it is working. I mean, it's not working great, but you know, it starts and runs, which is cool. Okay, this was the restart button. Whoop. Okay. What I really don't understand is why isn't the arm, not the arm, the hand not reflecting the angle, but I'm pretty sure that I forgot to do that, so now that I mention it. Rubber ducking, yeah. Oops, I didn't want to close that. Oh yeah, I had the climbing wall Wikipedia entry open just to, you know, if I ever get into trouble with the terminology. So yeah, okay, I'm going to go back to construct, and also I'm going to add the little thing that not only sets the angle of the arm, but also the hand as well. So set angle, and I'm just going to copy the angle of the arm because I already calculated it once right here, so yeah. Yeah, I'm going to set up the freaking Bluetooth connection because this is ridiculous. Okay, now the hand is also rotating, which is cool. Nice. Okay, I'm going to create a new version of the project. And I'm going to bump up the version number, the build number to 2. Good. How long have I been streaming? Okay, so for a good 2 hours, not counting the break, I guess. So, okay, I will probably do like 1 or 2 more hours, depending on how much of my brain gives up on me, so... I can definitely feel it. And this is probably partially because of the longer than I wanted break that I took from streaming, which was over a month. Not great, but never mind. I had stuff to do, I would say, but it's a lie. I could have totally do some trigems or something, but I didn't. Right, okay, so the hand is mostly working fine. I think I'm going to add air control now, and then I can start playing around with the various values that affect the movement of the player. Ooh, also I wanted to check out the spring stuff, because I did not do that. So I have zero idea how this works, so I'm just going to randomly add some values here. So what did I say? Oh yeah, Bluetooth. I'm going to pause for just 1 minute because I'm not so sure if there's anything sussy in the screens that I'm going to open. So BRB 1 minute and I'll be back. And we are back. So yeah, the Bluetooth pairing seemingly went fine, which is a relief. I'm just going to check if it's actually working, and hopefully this time it won't sleep so quickly, if even that was the issue. So yeah, okay, so I guess it's working fine. I can move around on the ground. That's nice. Good. So we are now wireless. I'm in the controller. Okay, where was I? I wanted to add the air movement and yeah, the springiness as well. I don't really see the springiness, not yet anyway. Maybe I need to change the values or something. Instead of guessing, I might want to check the documentation first. So, although I'm not so sure if it actually goes into detail. Damping, angular damping. Oh no, sorry. This is, yeah, There's no... Ah, damn it. Okay, so the create distance joint is the action that I'm using, and it literally has no mention of the whole spring stuff, which is weird. Usually the construct documentation is not skimping on details, but never mind. I guess I'll just have to play around the values. Play around with the values. Streamer brain, sorry. Okay, so I am doing the joint creation right here. Damping ratio. No damping was the default one. I'm going to leave it as is. I don't know what the spring hertz frequency stuff means, but okay, this is definitely springier. Pretty good, I guess. It's not bad. What if I set it to 1? Is it increasingly? Will it be increasingly springy or the opposite? It's definitely more elastic this way. So okay, if the value is set to 0, which was the default one, there is no spring frequency. And if I set it to a low value, there's more springiness or elasticity. Okay, now what if I set the damping ratio to 0.5 while keeping the spring frequency at 1? It's actually looking pretty good. Maybe I'll change the spring frequency to something a little higher. Okay. For a start, this is fine, I think. This is cool. I'm going to continue with the air movement for now. So air movement, okay, I don't want the player to be able to move while they're not connected to anything. Although maybe it would be also a little easier for the player to, for example, when they are free falling or something, that they can still apply some minor corrections to their movement. I don't know. And Tibor just left the room and I can't ask him what he thinks. But he also says something like, try it, which is correct, 100% correct. So instead of contemplating what to do, I'm just going to implement something. And if it doesn't work, then I will do the other one. So at first, I think I'm just going to allow the player to have air control while the arm is extended and already connected. So when the connection is actually established, which is a pretty easy check because this is where I set the connected grip UID. So I just need to check if the player has this set to something that is not -1, not nothing. So, okay, back to input. So this is where the left analog stick is handled. So if the player is on the ground, I'm allowing them to rotate around, so I'm applying torque. So oh, grapes, that's nice. Did you wash them?
Nope.
Okay. I might want to do that later, but sorry.
You tell me I guess.
Okay. So if the player is on the ground and they are connected, this is what I'm thinking about right now. So if they are on the ground and also connected to a grip, then what the frick do I want them to do? But I would say that ground movement should only be applied, allowed, when the player is not connected. So I'm just going to change stuff about for a bit. I'm going to check the value of the connected grip UID first. If it's equal to nothing, that means there's no connection. And if that is already happening, I'm also going to check if they are on the ground and then allow the torque movement stuff. However, if they are not connected to anything, if they are connected to anything, then I want the little force thing to work. So I think I will just have to do something very similar to the way that I'm applying torque right here, but in this case I'm applying a force. So force. And this is the part where I'm usually worrying about delta time, by the way, and I probably should. But by default, I think construct takes delta time automatically into account when using the classic physics actions like apply force. So as long as I'm not going to use manual setting of velocity, which is also something that I've done in the past, I think I'll be fine. I guess we'll find out. Nowadays, I usually test all my games once they reach a certain point on different refresh rates as well. So if there are delta time shenanigans, then they will surface. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to try apply force at an angle. And the angle will be set by the analog stick, I guess. And the amount of force will also be set by the analog stick. So I have no idea how much force do I want to apply. So for now, I'm going to set it to a fixed one and then later factor in the amount, the distance essentially from the midpoint of the analog stick to the current position. So I'm just going to try this at first. And the angle will be angle gamepad. I think axis will be the one that I need to use. So, okay, axis, first gamepad, first index, which is the left analog X. However, I need to do something like this, I think. So calculate the angle of the midpoint and the current position of the left analog stick. This first one is the left analog stick X, and this is the Y axis. And image point 0 is the one that I want to apply the force at, which is the origin, which is fine. So I'm just going to try this. Okay, so there's definitely air control, but not the way I want things, I think. Okay, probably too much with air control. Okay, so this is the case that I am connected. I have air control, so this is not the torque action stuff that I used before when I'm on the ground. Although I'm on the ground, it doesn't matter because the way that the conditions are set up, it's ignored. This one is not going to happen if there's a connection, so this is cool.
If you touch ground while you are engaged in wrapping stuff. So when you touch the ground, wrapping would disengage.
The minute that you touch the ground, the grappling should disengage. It's an interesting idea. I like it. Sure.
When you swing around and touch the ground, it would
Yeah, I know what you mean, but the problem is that we are going to have these kind of walls, not just in these kind of positions. So I don't know if I want the player to disconnect immediately just because they hit a little bit of a wall. I don't know. It's an interesting thought, by the way. Edomoth, hi there. Welcome to the stream. How is the jam going? It's going all right. We started a little late, so yeah, we started today. How long I've been streaming? Oh yeah, so 2.5 hours ago we started, and this is where we are at right now. So yeah, it's all right. It's going to be a little physics platformer, hopefully. I'm controlling this big blob, and as you can see, there are a bunch of connection points that I can establish a connection to. Right now there's no aiming, and once one of the grip points turns red, I can just press a button and the little green arrow looking hand stuff will start moving toward it, and once it reaches it, an actual physics joint is formed, which means that I can do something like this. So I can right now swing around. I just added the air control stuff, so once a connection is established, I have a little ability to move around my own accord. I think the force is too much, by the way, so there's too much air control. I'm going to reduce the amount to 1 for now, and also I'm going to change that a little later, so there's actual analog input for specifying the force, the amount of force. So if I press the if I move the analog stick further from the center, I want more force to be applied. So yeah, the theme is, as you probably know, build to scale. Okay, I was a little lost. And this will be about scaling walls. So yeah, and it will probably be a little robot, but maybe not, that you control, which is built to scale walls. You know, this is where we are at this point. Thank you for checking them, by the way. I appreciate it a lot. Hope your day is going fine. Okay, so air control, right. I'm going to make the force variable. I don't know how to pronounce this correctly, but yeah, so I want to calculate the distance between the midpoint, the mid position of the left analog stick, and the current position of the analog stick. So I will just have to do something like this. And since this, I think, operates in a, yeah, of course, it operates in a -100 to 100 scale, I'm just going to use the utility function that I created that maps values from scales to different scales. So this is the value, and the distance will be somewhere between 0 and 100. And what I want to have is to have it between 0 and 1. I mean, it should be a little multiplication or multiplication or division, but this is more appropriate if I ever want to change this value, which I probably will, because I don't like using literals like this in code. So I'll probably move that somewhere in a variable that can be configured and possibly change during gameplay as well. So yeah, okay, I'm just going to quickly check something, whether if it's even noticeable that different values of force are applied. Okay, so I'm going to move like this, and if I only press the analog stick a little, this is how much movement I get. And if I press it a lot, yeah, I move a little further. I think this is all right for first implementation. So, whoa, okay. So one of the things that we talked about with Tibor, who is sitting right behind me and probably working on graphics or I don't know what, is that we want the player to have some kind of limitation on the amount of movement they are allowed while on the ground or while connected to a grip point. So essentially, we want to implement fatigue or, you know, a loss of power or something, so they can't really overuse this air movement and ground movement behavior. But this will come later. So for now, I think I'm just going to put a big old check mark right here. Apply force midair with analog stick to move around. Done. Which is cool, but also kills my to-do list. So yeah. When did we make the last break? This is my question, Tibor. Do you remember? Was it like half an hour ago or more? Because we might want to talk about some stuff, because, and also you might want to try it, by the way. Do you want to try it? Good. Should I push it? No. Okay. No, because we only have the one controller, I think. Or maybe there's another one. I don't know. Okay, never mind. Just try it. I'm going to...
There's another one.
Oh, cool. Do you want to sit here?
Good.
Okay. Gotta increase the window size a bit. Okay.
Mivel startolok?
A fölfelével.
Yep.
Háromszög.
It feels a bit slow.
Which part?
The green arrow stuff.
Yeah, it should be like.
Also,
yeah.
you
Okay.
should give out I don't know, dotted line.
Oh
or
yeah,
something
yeah.
as
That's
an
a good point.
How it can.
Okay, I increased the speed of the green arrow stuff to the double the amount. So check it out now. Is it too fast?
Better.
Yeah, it's not really noticeable. I mean, it's too fast to the point that you don't really see the extension, I think. But also
Makes the game fun.
no, I think the problem is that the arm doesn't seem to be updating, by the way, while the green arrow stuff is moving towards the target. Can we try it again? Yeah, the arm is not visible. This is a problem. I'm gonna fix it right now. And how does the movement feel, by the way? I mean the air movement, especially.
Did you want to put in air control as in the free fall way as well, or just on the hook?
This was the question that I wanted to ask you, but you were in the other room. So yeah, what do you think?
A bit could be.
Because right now you can only apply air control when you're connected.
Yeah, just swings.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah, it feels fine, quite fine.
But do you think that we should allow some air control, like in free fall or something?
Yeah.
But not the same amount as...
Just slightly, but we have to try, of course.
Okay. Good. Okay, I'm going to put a new build up on it right now. If anyone's interested and watching and has a gamepad, because right now the game can only be controlled with a gamepad. So yeah, it's going all right. Still wonky, but since most of the items on my to-do list for the basic mechanics of movement are complete, I think it's a good idea to try it now, because why not? And also, if anyone has any feedback, I will be happy to hear it, of course, but no pressure. I freaking love that soundtrack. You're right. Ah, crap. Yeah, there's like something is a bit off still. Or it's either my timing, but still I need to correct it somehow, like, you know, allow the player to be a little late or something.
Yeah, coyote time.
Oh yeah, exactly. Essentially that. Because I think sometimes I'm pressing the button while the red is showing up, but it's probably not the case, but it feels wrong. So
yeah, the indicator stuff around.
Yeah, definitely the indicator is totally crap, and you are right about the radius stuff as well.
At least for testing, maybe the final one.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to add the radius thing, I think. Visible grab distance radius around grip points. This is one thing. Coyote time or actually a little longer max grab distance. I think should work all right. So there's, I don't know, if we are even keeping the indicator that lights up a grip point when the player is near, because we might not even need it if there's like a visible radius around the grip point, although I'm not sure if this is going to look all right. So okay, we'll think about that once I implement it. But yeah, the player should be allowed to start engaging the arm and the hand a little outside the official grab distance, which is communicated. So okay, was there something else? I'm not so sure. Oh yeah, I remember now. The extension is not visible during the, yeah, okay, so when the visibility of the arm is controlled, there's some issue. I mean, it should be visible right after this happens. Okay, so where I'm setting the visibility of the arm. Okay, yeah, maybe not here. So instead of checking the connection state, I also want to check the target state. So if there's even something targeted, I want the arm to be visible. If either of these are nothing, so nothing is short for -1 in this case. So I want the arm to be visible. This should work fine, I think. Let's just check it. Oh, also I wanted to bump up the version number and create a new version of the project because I did make an export. Nope, not this one. Thank you. Okay, good. So let's just try it again. What the? Okay, I was pressing the wrong button again. I don't know. Okay, so this is a problem. Targeted grip UID is not zeroed out anywhere, and when the disconnection request is made right here, I need to zero it out. I mean, not zero, but -1 it out technically, but yeah, you catch my drift. So, and this will make the arm invisible the second I press the A button or the X button in this case.
A jump button.
Should there be?
If you're on the ground.
I don't know. I mean, this is something that, you know, only depends on level design, whether there should be a jump button. I'm not so sure if there should be.
And there should be jump pads.
If I don't know, because if the game is about scaling, I kind of want the player to be able to die at the bottom of the freaking pit or something. I don't know, maybe.
All right. Unsold.
We'll see. My timing is so freaking bad. Okay. So visible grab distance radius around grip points. Okay. Well, the most basic version of this would be to add like a circle around all the grip points. Now, since the player is quite chunky, I might want to reduce its size anyway. The question is that if whether I should take into account the player's size as well when determining the radius of this little helper sprite that I want to put around the grip points. So you mean just when the player is already a little bit inside the radius, then it should be fine, or you have to be completely inside of it for it to work. But of course, once again, coyote time, blah blah blah. I think yes. any if you're even near, essentially, I mean quite close but near to the radius, it should be allowed to grip.
I can touch it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Okay. Good. Right, okay, so I'm going to move some stuff around. I'm going to create a spawner sprite because since we are going a little complex with the grip points, and I also don't want to have a bunch of instances of the grip object on the level anyway. Instead, I want to create spawners which will spawn the grip points and also spawn the radius around them. So I'm going to refactor some things or just reorganize it, I guess. So, okay, I'm going to delete all of this and just have a single instance on the object templates layout. And right here, I want to create like, now the question is, do I want an SVG circle, which will be nice and crisp, or do I want just a regular old raster sprite? Doesn't matter at this point because we have no art, so I'm just going to go with the sprite. And we can always change this quite easily later, so I am going to draw a circle. Or, no, this is fine, a circle is fine. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, I really don't care. This is all temporary art, so yeah. Okay, Danny Boranovsky is getting on my nerves now at this point, so sorry, I'm going to skip some stuff. We are listening to the Crypt of the Necrodancer soundtrack, by the way, Twitch gang. YouTubers will know anyway, because I'm removing the music track from the VOD, so never mind. Okay, I am going to draw a circle. That's what I was doing. Good. Origin is in the middle. That's fine. And I'm going to attach the circle to the grip object. I'm going to say the name is grip radius. I'm going to randomly change the opacity to something that is a little more invisible. And I'm going to move the position of this right here. So what I don't want to synchronize is the width and the height, because these will be set dynamically, I think. I don't need to synchronize the angle or the Z elevation as well either. I mean, I really don't need to constantly synchronize the X and Y for now. However, if we are really going to implement moving grip points, then I will have to do that. So I'm just going to leave that. Okay, thinking about code organization. So when a grip point is created, or more like when a grip radius object is created, I want its size to be set to whatever is the rule. That is the grab distance of the player. Now, what if there's going to be like a power-up that changes the grab distance? Of course, then I will need to change the visuals as well. So the grip radius should increase and decrease, increase or decrease according to the current grab distance of the player. So I'm just going to think about this a bit. this is almost like UI or something, because grip radius is literally not part of the game, but only a visual indicator of things. So I think I want to either put stuff like in the FUI event sheet that is related to UI, but yeah, this is I'm not going to bike shed about this. I'm just going to go with the easiest implementation for now. So grip radius when it's created. And also I somehow feel that grab distance, yeah, should it be a global variable instead? I don't think we are going to add the cooperative multiplayer in this game, or are we? Still, if we are going to do that, I don't think that it would make much sense to have different grab distances for the players and not just the same one. So yeah, I think I'm going to change things, and grab distance for now will be a constant, and we can change that at any one point if we decide that we need to have it in a variable instead, because there will be power-ups or something. So for now, I'm going to create a constant called player grab distance. I'm going to set its value to something. I think it was 80 or something. I think I'm going to increase it slightly to 100 anyway. And I'm going to check where I'm using this variable, only in one place, and instead of this variable I am going to reference the constant that I just created, which also means that this variable, instance variable, can be removed from the player object type. So goodbye. And also this event sheet has to indicate that it actually has some stuff in it, so I'm removing the underscore. Okay, and this is right here where the grip radius objects are created. So I'm going to set their size according to the grab distance, but of course I need to multiply it by 2, because the size is not the radius but the, what's the other one called? Twice of the radius is sorry? Twice of the radius of the circle. What is it called? The diameter, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, so yeah, because the grab distance is the radius, but the size should be the diameter. So, okay, this is fine, I think. And also, okay, so the grip radius object looks like crap, but it should work fine at this point. I don't need collision checks or anything on it. Oh, sorry, I was going to make a spawner, and I have not done that, so let me just create a spawner object. So spawner objects are essentially for spawning stuff dynamically during runtime. And I usually have one, maybe a couple, if it makes any sense, depending. But for now, I think I'm going to be fine with just one spawner object, which spawns the grip points. So I'm just going to make some gorgeous programmer art now. And yeah, so the spawner object can have different animations, and these animations should correspond to the object types that they are going to spawn. So in this case, it's called grip. And just to be extra verbose about it, I'm going to draw a gorgeous G letter on it. So it's obvious that this will spawn grips. And I'm going to put a couple of them on the level, on this layout, which is the actual level. Nice. And I'm going to create a new event right here. So spawner created, and depending on which animation is playing, I want to spawn an object. However, since the animation names are completely matching the object type names, I can just do this stuff without macros, I guess. It might not be the best idea, but for now it's going to suffice. So I'm going to say create object by name, and this is where I can specify any old string, and if it responds to a family or object type, then it will just dynamically spawn that into the game. So object name is spawner.animation name, so oops. So whatever the animation name is, that kind of object type or family should spawn, I mean, an instance of it. So layer now this I really want to have a macro for, and I usually have this one. So there's a main layer in most of my games, and I reference layers like this. So there's a constant macro essentially. Okay, and the X and the Y position should be whatever the spawner's X and Y position is. And I definitely want to create a hierarchy because we already use it for the grip radius object that is a child of the grip object. And after this is done, I guess I can get rid of the spawner altogether, in this case anyway. But just to be safe, I think I'm going to make sure that the spawners are not visible and there are no collision detection for them either because they are not needed. So, right, at this point, it should probably work fine, but maybe it won't. Is that Sri back there answering? It was, I think, my good friend Tibor, who is doing the art and sometimes the audio for the games as well. Now I'm thinking about the voice of the male Siri. I have zero idea how it sounds. Has anyone told you that you sound like Siri, Tibor?
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, I think Tibor is not really visible because I'm sitting in the exact position to overlap him, or no, that's not the right word. That's the construct word. So okay, okay. There were some shenanigans, I think, due to size. Or something else. Let me just check again. Yeah, this is suboptimal. Now, what I don't really understand is that why isn't the size taken from this single instance? This is how I usually do things. Is it raining? Or isn't it? No, it's probably not. Okay, so this is called grip, and the object is also called grip. What's the issue? Oh, wait a second. Grip radius is created, and I'm setting the size of the grip instead of the grip radius. Yep. Whoops. Okay. Okay, that's better. It looks like crap, but that's better. Right. I think I'm going to go with a solid circle and decrease the opacity. And I might want to, I don't know if I should have this color highlight stuff or not, but I definitely need to set the size in a manner that takes into account the player's size as well, because right now it doesn't. Okay, I'm thinking about the different values for the max grab distance, one for the player and one for the, one for display and one for the actual mechanic, so which is a little easier on the player. And where should I put it as well? 1 second. Okay, so right now we have a constant right here. Or I can maybe add a new constant that has like a little extra leniency or something that I add when actually checking if the player is within reach of a grip point. Yeah, so I'm going to say player grab distance coyote multiplier. This is a horrible freaking variable name, but never mind that. And I'm going to say an extra 5%, because why not? So this is where I set, this is where I check the distance. So in this case, I'm not just going to check it against this, but instead, yep. So it's a little more lenient. And also I need to, take into account the player, or maybe not even anymore. The player size I meant. Okay, I think I'm going to keep the highlight for now, but I'm also going to change the color of the radius thing as well. So is within grab distance. Yeah, this is where I color the stuff. So radius, set color, and set it to white by default. And I also want to pick the child of the grip object. Pick children and say grip radius, and also set its color to red. And I'm not really seeing any difference. What the frick? It's not, but it's not even possible to synchronize the color. But I'm doing it manually anyway, so I just pick the instance of the grip radius object that is related to the grip object, and this happens right here. But something's amiss. Or maybe I'm just not seeing the, I don't know, that would be weird. Let me increase the opacity a little. So maybe it's red, I just didn't see it, I don't know. No, it's definitely not happening. Please hold. Let me just fix that. Okay, so every tick I am picking up the grip and setting its color to red. This works. And this subcondition that picks the right instance of the grip radius object type. Oh crap, once again, the freaking I screwed up the object in the action, so now it should work fine.
Break after this?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Also, have we been streaming for 3 hours? Indeed we have. Okay, so I think we're going to have a little break, just for, once again, like 10 minutes or something, tops. I am getting streamer brain, yeah, as you can see, clearly. So we'll probably go back a little, come back a little after the break, although it sounds like we shouldn't, but I really want to, make something after the break, so there's a point of the break anyway. So visible grab distance, radius around grip points, this is a check. Coyote time stuff, this is kind of a check as well. Okay, we're gonna have a break. We're gonna think about some stuff, something easy to implement, and I'll implement it, and then we are going to call it a day, I think. So we'll be right back in about 10 minutes. Feel free to stick around, and yep, enjoy your day as well. And we are back, indeed. Hi there, Tani. Good to see you. Rare fully stream. Yeah, it's increasingly rare, unfortunately, these days. But I will really try to make a couple more because, yeah, the GMTK gen lasts for like 3 more days or something. So I will definitely be back tomorrow afternoon. So I mean in my local time, which is Central European. So yeah, okay, I was consulting with Tibor. And I want to extend my little to-do list because we made some super basic features that we want to put in the game. So I'm just going to make note of these. By the way, how are you doing, Tani? If you're still here, sorry, I was on a non-smoke break, but yeah. I will probably be streaming for like half an hour tops or something, because my brain is getting fried. Okay, so I'm going to make a few items and I will talk about them a little. And also I'm going to make a new version of the project and put the current one on itch in a second. Okay, so these are the super basic items, and I will also... Oh, you're lurking, sorry, yeah. Yeah, okay, so where we are at this point, if anyone else is possibly joining the stream right about now. So we have a horrendous looking game because I did all the art and it's all temporary, of course. You control this little blob for now. You can move around by applying torque while you're on the ground. And you can also, while inside of one of these little circles, push a button, and then you will fire a little hand and an arm that grabs onto this grip. So this will be used for movement, level traversal or whatever. And the point of the game will be to get to the top of a mountain or something. So it's very much a vertical movement, ideally. We'll have to tweak the physics because it's all default values and random values that I didn't consider a lot. So this is where we are at this point. And what I added onto the to-do list just now is that instead of the infinite use grips that are in the game right now, we might want to introduce some grips that actually deteriorate at by the number of uses the player grabs onto them. This wasn't a sentence, sorry. So grips that break down, that's what I was aiming at after a couple connections. And another big factor that we already mentioned, I think, like an hour ago or something, is that we want to have some sort of fatigue or energy consumption for the player. So whenever they are moving around, and by moving around I mean applying air movement while connected to one of the grips, or moving around on the ground, they consume energy. And what I probably want not to force the player, but to, you know, nudge the player to, is to try to traverse the level with as little air movement, forced air movement as possible. So only using the grip points, and that's it. So yeah, and of course, if the energy can deplete, it will have to be refilled as well. So I'm going to add some energy pickups that replenish the energy level of the player. And we might also add like a teleport device that has at least one exit or something, and possibly a force field, which affects movement. So I think this is probably obvious enough. And just a big old timer. So when the level is complete, then the final time can be seen, and of course it can be used for measuring how efficient someone is at a certain level. So yeah, this is about it. I think I'm going to tick off a couple of more items from the to-do list in the next half hour or so, and then I'm going to call it a day. And as I mentioned, I'll be back tomorrow afternoon, Central European time. Okay, so I wanted to make an export, so you guys, if you feel, can try the game on itch. I mean, it's not a game yet, but you can try the controls and the movement and stuff like this, which is not great either, but playable. Yeah, my PC is so freaking responsive, by the way. No, it's not. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so the new build is probably up. We'll find out right now. Good. Yeah, these grip points are way too close to each other, by the way. I just wanted to add a bunch of them so I can test things out quickly, but it's pretty bad. Okay, never mind. So yeah, okay, I'm going to decide what to implement first. So grips that break down after a couple of uses shouldn't be a hard one. Maybe I'll start with this one. Why not? Okay, so we have these spawner objects that actually spawn the grip objects during runtime. So these spawner objects should be the ones that determine what kind of objects they are spawning, and the object type is already determined. But the parameter, for example, in this case, that after how many connections a grip should break, these are not. It's not possible yet to specify, but I'm going to do that right now. So the question is, do I name it like related to this exact feature, or do I use like a generic? No, I think I'm going to go with the proper feature stuff. So okay, the feature is that break after use or something. And if it's 0, then it's infinite use, and if it's a number, then it's that many use. So that many numbers of uses, whatever. Sorry, my brain is getting fried, so okay. So in this case, I think I'm going to, for example, set this to 2, just so we can test it out. And all the others have 0, so the others shouldn't break, but this grip that is spawned should. Okay, but I will probably need to come up with even just a temporary visual feedback that actually signifies that the grip is going to break. And the best way to do that, I think, is to use numbers, which are a great invention. So I think I'm just going to add like a sprite font object or something, and put it right here. So if a grip has a number on it, then it will display how many uses it has left, and that's it. Should be easy. I think I'm going to nick one of the sprite font objects from another game, from the previous game, I think, that we made. I'm just going to grab that. And that was, I think, this one. Or, sorry, this is my template. Maybe it has the sprite font object already? No, it doesn't. Okay, this is the old version of the template. Not great. Going to shed some light on things, like myself. Not a lot, but a little. Okay, so this should work fine. Okay, so I'm going to name it UI uses SF. SF stands for sprite font, and uses exactly signifies its purpose, which shows the remaining uses of an object, in this case the grip object. So I'm not sure we need tween on it, so I'll just remove it, and I am also going to change the appearance of this to something like that and add it to the hierarchy. So this is more or less, should be the same size, but maybe a little smaller, so it's actually easy to select the object behind it. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. Hierarchy. Okay, X and Y we need to synchronize, nothing else. And is it visible by default? It is. Okay. It really shouldn't be, I think. I mean, it could be, doesn't matter, because I think for infinite use grips, I'm just going to destroy this object so it doesn't, you know, take up any memory. So, okay, right. Okay. So when a grip is created, I need to pick its children, I mean just child, which is this UI uses SF object, and I also need to add like an instance variable that signifies how many uses this grip object has left. So uses left should be the number. Okay. It will be a little tricky because originally I wanted to use uses left 0 to signify that it is infinite use, but it does imply that it has no use left, so it should be destroyed, but for now it's going to suffice, and I'll just destroy the object once the player disconnects from one that has one use left. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to use that, and if a grip is created and the children is picked, I'm going to check the value of this variable that I just added. Uses left, and if it's bigger than no, if it's equal to 0, maybe I should use -1. Yeah, it would be better. Okay, so -1 is usually nothing in my terminology, but in this case it signifies infinite. So infinite uses. Okay, so here are the spawners. I'm going to rename this to uses. And when the spawner is actually spawning the grip object, which happens right here, I want to set the value of the uses left variable according to the spawners. And this is where I really need to use some words, macros, because it's going to get messy anyway, I mean otherwise. So this is something new that I came up with, I guess. So as long as I'm only using a macro in its original context, which is for example a layer in this case, I prefix it with layer. But once I'm using it in multiple contexts, in this case it's an animation name, it's an object type name, I'm just going to create a macro that is prefixed with W, stands for word, because it's, you know, better for my brain this way. And I'm going to say it's a grip, this macro. So when the spawner is created, I'm going to check its animation name. Is playing grip. And then I'm going to create the object, which happens here as normal, and this is universal, so this is fine. But I also want to, or maybe I should just, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to change things a bit. So, okay, in this case, I'm just going to check if the animation name of the spawner is actually grip. If it is, then I'm going to specifically spawn a grip on the main layer with a hierarchy. I'm going to get rid of this. And this grip that just has been created should be initialized. But I'm just going to go with the easiest and shortest route, which is grip, set value, and uses left should be whatever was the spawner's uses variable. And hopefully this should work fine. Although I could just move this right here. It's messy, but I'm going to do that for now. So if it has this in the uses left variable, which means it's infinite use, then we can get rid of the uses SF object totally, because we're not going to need a number displayed on the grip. And otherwise, we indeed are going to display the number of uses left. So set value. What am I doing? Sorry. Okay. Uses SF set text, of course. And the text should be grip.uses left. Okay. I'm going to test it now. And there should be a single grip with the text displayed, but there's not, because I think it's not visible. Uses SF set visible. Because by default I turned its visibility off just to be safe, so it doesn't flash a little or something. Okay, almost, because it displays 0 on all of them. But this is because I did put 0 in the spawner's uses variables. So I'm just going to set it all to -1 and change this one to 2. And just for fun, I'm going to change this one to 1. So there are 2 instances that have limited uses. Okay, this is better. So now the text only shows up on the boxes that have limited uses, which is cool. And also, I will probably need to decrease the number once a connection is established to that grip, which happens somewhere here for now. By the way, the project is a mess, and I will probably spend some time tomorrow morning cleaning stuff up, but I don't like too much bike shedding, and I already do too much bike shedding on stream, so yeah. I just prefer to get stuff done and not worry about the cleanliness of the code while I'm streaming. I know it's not great, but it's not a tutorial, so. Okay, so this is where the grep stuff is happening. I mean, it's starting. And this is actually not the place that I want to use to decrease the uses, because I only want to decrease the use once the connection is actually made, which is still in this weird position right here. So grep set value, or you even subtract, grep subtract value, subtract from uses left, and I'm just going to decrease the value by 1. Okay. This is good, but I also need to update. Grep pick child. So I need to update the text, of course. And set it to whatever is in the uses left variable of the grep object. Set text grep.uses left. Good. Okay, so this updates once the connection is established, once the hand reaches the grep and the joint is formed. However, I also want to check how many uses are left after disconnecting. So this connection, it happens here, which is horrendous. I will refactor this at one point. So this is where this connection happens. Where is it? Just to be sure, I'm going to pick a grep by the UID, and the UID is in the player's connected grep UID. This should always come up with a single instance because there should be a connection, and if there's no connection, then nothing should happen, which is fine. Yeah, okay. So this is where I remove the joint. I clear these variables that contain the connected and targeted grep instance UIDs. And this is also the place where I need to check how many uses the grep has. So grep variable uses left, and if it's equal to 0, then I need to destroy it. And for now, I'm just going to literally destroy it, so get rid of the object. I guess. Let me just check if things are mostly working. Okay, so the number decreased, which is good. I don't know if I can make it back up there, so I'm just going to restart the game. Okay, this is cool, and it is indeed destroyed. Okay. I mean, it's super basic implementation, but it seems to be working fine, so I'm just going to put a big old freaking checkbox right here. I mean a check mark, which is an X. So yeah, grep type that breaks after and uses done. I think I'm going to do this energy stuff, and then I'm going to stop streaming because I'm tired. So energy consumption by movement and grep. Yeah, these are so these I'm going to implement right now with some random values. Then I'm going to adjust the values probably tomorrow off stream, so it's not too easy, not too hard, blah blah blah. But what I want to do is to have some sort of energy display for the player. Ooh, damn, this is UI. Okay. How do I want to do the first implementation? That's the question. I think I'm going to go root one and create a tiled background. and it will be a big bar that shows somewhere on the screen, not next to the player, but somewhere that is readable easily. For example, the top of the screen. And of course, I'm going to move this to the UI layer, because the camera will probably move around at one point. By the way, I need to add moving camera. Good. So this will be called UI bar, and it's all right if it's initially visible. I'm also going to need to store its initial width, so I can make calculations and adjust the width of this bar according to how big was it originally. So I'm going to store this in init width. So bar created, bar, whoops, set value, init width, self.width. That's done. Okay, so also the parallax is off on this layer. This is fine. Okay, so this will signify how much energy the player has left. Now I do need to store the current energy level and the maximum energy level in some sort of variable. Question is, do I do it on the player? Do I do it in a global variable? But I'm going to do it on the player, of course. Max energy, prefixed with an R, which stands for rule. So this is the initial starting energy level. It starts at 100. And I'm just going to add a state variable called energy, which I'm going to set to the max value at the beginning of the game. So right here, I'm going to say player set value energy and self.r max energy. So this is fine. Yeah, I'm thinking about where I'm going to do the UI update for this bar stuff, but yeah, this is not important at this point. The code is starting to look like a mess anyway, so yeah, this is fine. Okay, so this sets the bar to the max. I mean, the bar is already at the max, but this sets the value of the energy variable to the max, which is cool. And once the player is starting to do stuff, this energy is going to get depleted, and this will have to be reflected in the bar as well. However, since I intentionally named this UI bar, I might want to use similar bar graphs in other places of the game as well. I will definitely need to add an instance variable to distinguish between the different instances. And for this and UI stuff, I just usually add a variable called role, which is a string. And in this case, I'm going to do, say energy is the name of the role. And for this, I'm going to create a macro, which is a role. Good. So for now, I'm just going to do this every tick, which is not optimal, but totally okay at this point. So I'm going to pick the right bar, which has the role set to role energy, and I'm just going to change its width according to how much energy the player has. So bar set width, and yeah, this is where I usually break down, because there's math, even though it's very simple math, but so player dot energy divided by player dot r max energy times by UI bar dot init width is my first guess, and I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to check if it works or if I swapped something up, because that happens. So okay, for this to show up, of course I will need to decrease the energy of the player. Now, for now, I'm just going to yeah, okay, I'm going to hook this energy depletion stuff to where the player is actually moving around, which happens right here. So if the analog axis of the gamepad, the left one, is not centered, and after a couple checks, for example here, I'm checking if the player is on the ground, and if they are on the ground, I'm going to apply torque according to the left analog. So this is where I want to deplete the energy. So player set value energy, and it should be something like player dot energy minus I don't know, 50 times data time, something like that. This is probably totally wrong, but never mind. And something similar should happen with the air movement, and I'm guessing that for some reason the ground movement should be cheaper, so I'm just going to set it to 25, and I'm going to see if anything is working. So oh, come on, construct, run the freaking thing. Okay, so the energy bar is seemingly at the max, but no, it's not, never mind. And if I'm moving around, it's depleting quickly, which is okay. The values are wrong, but yeah. If I grab and try to move around, they are also depleting. That's good. Okay, so these values are way too freaking high. I'm just going to set this to, I don't know, 2, and set this to 4. Oh, 4 and not 40, right? These are literals and I don't like using them, so I'm going to refactor these right now. Question is, do I move it once again on the player, or do I move it to a constant or something? I think I'm going to move it on the player. So R energy consumption ground move, okay, underscore ground movement, if I can type. Okay, so this will be 2, and very similarly I'm going to add another variable I mean, on the player family, air movement, which will be 4. And instead of these horrible literals, I'm going to reference these variables right here. So I could also do self in this case, because I'm setting something on the player, so I can say self.energy minus self.r. This is the ground one, so this, and right here self.energy minus self.r consumption, energy consumption, air movement. Boom. Okay, let's see if it's working. Okay, yeah, it's working. It's not great, but it's working. So energy consumption by movement or grip. Okay, I'm not going to do the grip one, because then it would just mean that the player is constantly losing energy, and I actually don't want the player to lose any energy by using the normal grip and not any air movement. So if they manage to traverse the level with as little air movement and ground movement as possible, they are freaking geniuses. And this I don't want to, you know, punish in any way. So this is fine. I'm going to just change this little to-do item. So energy consumption by air and ground movement. Okay, tick. And this will be the last one because my brain is really fried. So energy pickups. I'm just going to create a sprite, and I'm going to create a new animation name for the spawner. And the spawner will spawn these little energy stuff sprites that the player can pick up by moving close to them. They don't have to overlap with them or anything. It will be much like the XP in Vampire Survivors or something. So if you're close enough, then they will just move to your position and then get destroyed or something. So yeah. Right, okay, so I am going to... no, I'm not going to do an export. I will finish this energy pickup stuff and then make a final export. So the spawner we already have, and I just need to extend it. So I will just call it energy, or I'll call it pickup energy because there might be more pickups later. So pickup energy should be fine. Maybe a little underscore wouldn't go amiss. And I'm just going to quickly draw something beautiful. Right. And I'm going to sprinkle a few of these on the level. Randomly, just so we can test stuff. So, okay. I am going to need to create a new sprite called pickup. And this will be the actual object that is spawned by these little spawners. I'm going to name it pickup as I mentioned. I should really not insert it on this level anyway, not this layout. So I'm right away going to move it to object templates. It stores a single entity I mean instance of each object that is spawned during runtime. So I'm going to size it like this. I'm going to draw a little circle similar to the one on the spawner, which will not be visible anyway. So, okay, this is how it looks right now, and I'm going to name the animation energy. So, I think I'm going to create a new word macro called energy, because I have a hunch I'm going to use it in multiple places, so an animation name is not going to cut it this time. So, okay, here's the spawner logic. Here's where the spawner is actually spawning the grip, and I'm adding a new branch. So this is where the energy will spawn. And also pick up set animation, and I'm going to say, I could probably say just like this. It's not the cleanest, but it's fine. I mean, I have zero idea how many types of pickups there will be. It's quite possible there will be only one. Probably not, but yeah. For now, this is okay. So this will spawn the energy pickups, hopefully. I'm going to try if it works. Leaving now, got the stream to execute. Nice. Go for it, Danny. I wish you have a really good stream. I might pop in later, by the way, because I'm nearing the end here anyway. Okay, so the spawner is not really working, not yet anyway. But I know why. because this is called pickup energy and not energy or pickup or something. So what did I miss? So yeah. Okay, I'm going to simplify things. So I'm just going to call this energy. Okay, now the energy sprites are spawned. So all I need to do now is to decrease the size a little because they look bad. And also I will need to add some sort of mechanic that takes care of the actual picking up of this object type. So for this, I'm going to add an instance variable, as I usually do, is picked up or is dead or something that I usually use to signify whether the pickup is already spent or consumed or something like that. So is picked up will be the name of the variable for now, and it's 0 by default, which means false. So by default, they are not picked up, of course. However, when the player is nearing these little pickups, I want to set this value to 1 or yes in my terminology, and start tweening the pickup size probably to 0 or something, and also try to not lerp but exponentially decay the position of the pickup to the player. And once it's very close to the player, I'm just going to probably destroy it or something for now. Okay, so player, this is where I'm going to pick up the pickups. Yep. So if the distance between the pickup.x and pickup.y, so the pickup's position and the player's position, is less than the pickup's width, I mean, why not? Then I want the pickup to be put in the state that it starts moving next to the player, moving close to the player, and also gradually destroy it. I'm not going to do the tween, by the way. I'm just going to do the movement, and once the pickup is very close to the player, then I'm going to destroy it and add the energy bonus, and that's it. So yeah, I don't like this width stuff, so I'm just going to create a pickup distance instance variable for the player family. Once again, it's a rule, so pickup distance, and it will be like, I don't know, 15 pixels, why not? Let's see how it looks. So the comparison will need to happen with player dot r pickup distance, maybe not less than but less or equal. So this is where I set the pickup's value, the is picked up value, to yes, which means that it will be consumed very soon. Okay, so this is cool. I will probably need to have a separate check for the pickups, and I'm not going to bother by making something like this, pickup tick. I'm just going to say pickup variable is picked up set to yes. Then I'm going to start moving the pickup close to the player. And for this, I think I'm going to use the exponential decay function that I have in my template by the amazing Freya Holmer, or I don't know if she came up with it, but I saw her presentation on YouTube on why lerp is bad, and ever since I've been paying attention to this sort of stuff. So never mind. Pickup set position, and the position of the pickup will be calculated using the XDK function. It takes the x coordinate of the pickup and it should lerp to the player's x coordinate, not lerp but exponentially decay. I'm just going to come up with a random value like, I don't know, 5, which is essentially the speed of the, not the speed, but yeah, it affects the speed of the movement, the factor. So pickup y and player y will be the second one. And also I will need to check whether the pickup is actually really very close to the player. So if the pickup's distance is like less than, distance to the player is less than like 2 pixels or something, I'm just going to destroy it and add the bonus. So, okay. Big by comparison, pickup, distance, this is the same, player.x, player.y, pickup.x, pickup.y, and if it's, this is going to be a magic value right here, but never mind that. So this is where I actually need to get rid of the pickup. However, I did change my mind because this is not correct way to name this variable. It's going to be horrendous, but I'm going to call it is being picked up, and I'm going to add a separate variable called is picked up. So is being picked up is set to 1 when the pickup is starting to move next to the player, I mean close to the player, and is picked up will actually signify that the pickup is done and it shouldn't be in the game anymore. So okay, so for all pickups that are being picked up, I'm going to do the movement close to the player, and for the ones that are not picked up yet, I'm going to calculate the distance, and if it's smaller than 2 pixels, I'm going to set the is picked up value to yes, and also I'm going to destroy the pickup, and also I'm going to add some sort of bonus for the player, for the player's energy, of course. So player, no, what am I doing? So player set value, energy, and I will of course need to make sure that the energy level doesn't go above the maximum value. So I'm going to say min player dot, or I can probably say self dot r energy, no, what was it called, max energy, and self dot energy plus, and I don't know, 20. This is a magic number. I'm going to move it soon, but for now I'm going to leave it as is just to see if it's working. Right. Okay. So let's just see this in slow motion. So this is where the pickup starts, yeah, moving, and it moves and it gets destroyed. Okay, so this is all right. I'm going to check the energy bar. Yeah, it's too slow. This factor of 5 is not great. I think I'm going to put this on a constant because I really don't want pickup movements to be inconsistent. So pickup movement factor, horrendous once again, but it's fine. I'm going to set it to 10, and I'm going to use it. Where was I? Right here. Pickup movement factor. Okay. So I doubled it. I'm going to deplete my energy level, and then I'm going to, okay, so it's working. It looks bad. It doesn't, you know, look too great at this point, but I think the pickup distance should be probably a little bigger anyway. So I'm just going to set this to a higher number. Yeah, 15 is way too small. So I don't know, 40. Let's try it. Okay, that might be a little too big. Also, I'm not sure if exponential decay is good in this case, because the problem is that it starts really fast and then it's low at the end, I think, something. And this is the opposite of what I want, but I'm going to leave it as is and I'm going to replace it tomorrow. So yeah. Okay, final export time, I think, for today, of course. And as I mentioned earlier, I will be back working on this game tomorrow. Hopefully it won't be in the same state as I leave it right now, because I do want to play around the various values to get the movement a little, you know, more enjoyable, and, you know, attempt some level design possibly, because this is just, you know, a test level, so I can check if all mechanics are working, but this is nothing like the game. Nothing like the intended level design anyway. And also, I might want to clean up the code a bit, because it definitely shows that it was made on stream and using a streamer brain, no less. So but cleaning up code is boring, and I don't really like to do it on stream. Okay, so the export should be okay. I'm going to bump up the version number to 4 and make a new version of the project file. And also I'm going to upload the exported version to itch right now. If my PC agrees, which it doesn't. Cool. I forgot to bump up the version number once, probably. Okay, never mind. So I'm going to call the new one 5 and bump the version number up once again to 5. Right, let's check the each page, whether the new build is up and working. Cool, so right. It is what it is. Yeah, it doesn't look great, but it will. I'm pretty happy with the end result, and I'm also pretty happy that I ticked off a bunch of things from the to-do list. However, what I'm most happy about is that the core movement mechanic is basically working as I imagined it. I mean, it needs tweaking, but it seems like it will be fun, which is the primary aim for any jam game, I think. So yeah, 5 minutes of fun, or how they said it for the Hey Jam. I don't know, not the Hey Jam, the last year's Unjam. Yeah. So yeah, this is where we are, and I would like to thank anyone who has graced the stream with their presence, and thank you so much for joining me, and us, I mean, because Tibor is right here. So I'll be back tomorrow in the afternoon. Hopefully Tibor will be as well, and we'll get cracking with some more features and also graphics and audio, because I guess I have a bunch of sounds to import, for example, right?
Sorry?
I have a bunch of sounds to import, right?
Yeah, there's some.
Yeah, so yeah, a lot to do. I'm going to update the to-do list and get cracking tomorrow afternoon. Thank you so much for sticking around and joining the stream, and I'll hope to see you around next time. So bye now.